Our guest this episode, Leominster resident Lauren Soucy on the left, and Fitchburg's famous Georgie Rodriguez on the right. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for joining us. Issue 1, recreational marijuana licenses are scheduled to be available for distribution on July 1st. We're here taping this show on June 29th, and that's after voters approved an initiative ballot question in the last statewide election. Last month, the Fitchburg City Council passed a zoning rule for recreational pot dispensaries that prohibits shops from opening on Main Street. For years, we have been told that the future success of downtown will be best attained by tailoring it to the college crowd. Yet now the City Council has prohibited a new industry which would be very popular with that demographic from the downtown area. Was this a good move, Cindy?
No, it's not. It's definitely not a good move. The whole purpose is to bring businesses downtown, bring shoppers downtown, and this would have been a great opportunity that I think that they missed.
Lauren?
It's probably not a good move. Having a marijuana business in the downtown area would steer more college students who choose to use it recreationally or medically to purchase marijuana in a controlled and taxable manner rather than seeking it out from a dealer. I'd also like to point out there are several downtown locations where people can purchase alcohol and cigarettes, both more harmful than marijuana. I also believe there is a stigma that marijuana is a gateway drug. However, research has shown that this is just not true. Most who choose to use marijuana do not go on to use other drugs. Those who do already have a biological predisposition for addiction. That is what science has shown. And unlike alcohol and cigarettes, marijuana has many medicinal properties to it, which help people survive chronic illness. My husband is one of those people. He's had cancer 5 times, and chemotherapy is not an option at this point. He uses a THCA tincture due to its anti-prolific properties, which is currently halting the growth of cancer in his paratracheal lymph nodes, which is right in here, as shown in his past 2 CT scans. That's science.
Georgie, pot shops on Main Street?
I think is the right thing to do. I think that there's a big difference between medical marijuana and a big difference between the recreational marijuana when it comes to business. The medical business is more strict. It has some different guidelines than the recreational one. As we know, the recreational one is open to anyone 21 years and over. I think it will bring the wrong crowd, not only from our city, but from cities neighboring our border. And these people who come into downtown and they're going to shop for recreational marijuana. They're not going to go shopping for clothing. They're not going to go shopping for antiques. They're not going to go eat anywhere. They're going to go strictly to buy recreational marijuana. Now, a percentage of these people might cross the street to go to a bar. Now, you got there a little combination. A lot of people who smoke marijuana, a great percentage, also drink alcohol. I think it will be an explosive combination on Main Street. Now, this is maybe a test drive. As you know, I am a Christian, but I'm also a community activist, and I have to have the balance. Now, they should allow a medical marijuana business and use it as a study and how it will bring the business to Main Street, and then maybe they could make some changes to the law.
Mike?
Prohibition on Main Street is just too broad. Voters have spoken. I think that if you want to limit the number, you want to cap the number of dispensaries on Main Street so that it just doesn't totally take over Main Street and any vacancies there, that's fine, but I just think the voters have spoken on this issue. And not being an expert on marijuana myself, I do rely on people who tell me otherwise in terms of what the real deal is on marijuana. And I try to avoid the stereotypes when I can in order to learn about the subject. And I just think that what they've done, the essential prohibition, just too broad.
Why do they want to bring to Main Street another business like the ones that we already have? We have a lot of problems on Main Street already. We're trying to get rid of the prostitution, the hand handling. We're trying to get rid of the wrong crowd, people that are undesirable. That's why on Main Street many years ago, they eliminated the benches and they put lowering signs and things like that because they're trying to bring the right crowd. Now, it's not that we're discriminating against the users. of marijuana. I think that you could put it in the outskirts, just like the methadone clinic. I mean, they use.
But now you're. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But you're comparing marijuana users with the lowlifes that are they're either drunk or prostitution or
I never used that word.
Clinics.
I never used that word. Those are your words, not mine.
The word was undesirable.
No.
Undesirable.
Yes. When I said undesirable, did I say marijuana users? No. I said undesirable people. The city tried to get rid of them many years ago. The signs are still up. That's what I'm saying. I didn't say that marijuana users were undesirable.
But the thing is that these people, you can put a label to them, they're still human beings.
They are.
And they still are deserving of respect. And
absolutely.
How about Main Street as it deals with the college crowd? Obviously, marijuana is something that is very popular amongst the college crowd. So if you open up if you allow a Wi-Fi cafe that sells marijuana and has the edibles, things like recreational edibles, things like that, that can get those college kids from the campus out into Main Street, couldn't it?
Well, my question is, why does it have to be Main Street? Why Main Street is so important? Why is it a necessity that you put this type of business on Main Street, where we got elderly, we got kids? One thing that, like Colorado and other states don't report is, how it has affected families. How children already on 3rd grade are carrying marijuana because it's so accessible at their home. They don't report things like that. They don't report how crime has gone up. The crime average of small mom and pop shops, gas stations, and convenience stores has gone down, but it has gone up where the money is. These people sell thousands of dollars daily, and they have to have their own security, their own escort, and things like that, because they deal strictly cash. No bank or credit card company will sponsor such event, because let's not forget that still, federal level, it is a crime. Each state is doing whatever they want, but it's still illegal. And when we talk about percentage, how big was the percentage? 54% in favor, 46 against. So there's half of the population that still says no. Now, like I said before, I am a Christian, so I have to submit to the Tyrannian laws. And as a Christian, when we preach in our church, we tell our children that this is a drug and it is against our principle. But as a citizen, the people have the right to do what they want because they got free will.
So
even just in the past 2 years, if you look at the support for recreational marijuana on a national level, 10 years ago it was at 16% supported legalizing recreational marijuana. 16%. It is now over 60%.
You got the new generation.
Right. So you see it coming. I mean, when do we stop fighting and just embrace it?
That marijuana not only helps you with medical things, which I have agreed, but in the other side of the coin, it burns your brain.
I'm a Christian as well, George, and as a ritual in a Catholic Mass or in an Episcopalian Mass service, we drink wine. And
nothing wrong with that.
Well, except that if you drink way too much wine,
exactly, there you go.
It's gonna harm you more than marijuana.
Getting
from what I
drunk,
understand.
that's the problem.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with marijuana. It's all in consumption. You can consume a small amount and be quite comfortable and still function quite normally.
So?
I actually know so.
Have you seen? Yeah.
So there's a pub on Main Street, and so
there's a few pubs.
Right, and alcohol is worse than marijuana. Now, if you want to address the medical issue, it's expensive to get.
Does marijuana keep you alert?
It's expensive to get a medical let me finish, please. A medical marijuana license. All right, you have to see a doctor, and then you have to have that license. It's around $300. Now, people like us, we want to be able to get it without spending an extra $300. This is life-saving medicine. He's not smoking it, but we have to go elsewhere to get it. It would be great to be able to walk into a facility.
You said something very important. You could go elsewhere to get it. It doesn't matter where they put the shop. They could put it on Airport Road. They could put it on West Fitchburg. They could put it anywhere you want. People are going to go and buy it.
But the whole point is to build up downtown Fitchburg, and so and people have tried a variety of things over the years, and nothing's worked.
And you think the pot shops are going to be?
Well, I think bringing a vital business to the downtown area. These shops they're not seedy places like you know, a porn shop or something.
Yeah.
These are
those are all in
classy
Ashburnham.
places. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen them either. But they're places where you go in and you shop for a variety of things, and it's not cheap to buy the marijuana
No.
there. So you're not going to have, you know, people, vagrants running in there saying, oh, let's go, you know.
Yeah, but they'll be outside looking for money or for handouts. You know that recreational marijuana is way about 15 to 20%, maybe more expensive than buying it underground. So when you go to a recreational marijuana shop, don't expect to pay like $100 for a half an ounce.
I mean,
it's a lot.
And the state's going to benefit from that.
A lot of. Well, you know, really, you know, the state's going to get 3%, and the city's going to get 1%. That's not a lot of money.
Well, 17% tax
all the money is going to go to the owner of the shop. But my question still is, why is it so important and that there is a shop on Main Street? Why can't it be, you know, in the outskirts or Summer Street somewhere? I don't know. But
Of course, I would never partake in the devil's lettuce. But from what I understand, it makes you calmer, happier, more friendly. So
more alert driver.
That's why you wouldn't take it.
Right.
Well,
looking at the political landscape and all that, I mean, throwing each other out of restaurants and the political landscape, maybe we need a pot shop on every corner in the country to keep people happy.
If everybody smoked a joint at the same time, we'd have world peace.
I don't think it keeps you more alert. It keeps you calm, but not alert. And let me tell you, the side effects to marijuana, like one of them is schizophrenia. That's right. That's one of the side effects to marijuana. Do some research. Do some research because that's one of the side effects, other than it burns your cells and your brain. But going back, you know, I am in favor of the shops because that is the law. That's mandated. So we have to obey the law. But I think that Main Street should be more family-oriented, family-friendlier than having the shops there and because the problem is not who's going to buy it, it's who's going to linger around downtown to get it.
Well, then that's up to the police to do their job.
It costs more money to the taxpayers of the city.
Issue 2, Governor Charlie Baker last week, in a reversal, said the Massachusetts National Guard will not be sent to the Mexican border to assist the Trump administration because of what the governor called the Trump administration's cruel and inhumane policy separating migrant children from their families. Do you support the governor's decision to cancel plans to assist the feds at the border, and how should we be handling families detained by ICE? Lauren.
I agree with his decision not to send assistance to those not treating others with humanity. Children should never be separated from their family members unless they are in danger of immediate physical harm by that family member. We should be assisting families with the process of asylum if that was their intention for coming to the U.S. As you know, they can come to the border and say, I want to seek asylum, and we should help them. That's the law. So we should be assisting with those people with the process of asylum if that's their intention. And we should provide safe housing and an avenue to employment.
Good. Georgie.
What are we talking about here? Are we not obeying our constitutional laws? I mean, the president is the president, whether he's a Democrat, he's a liberal, he's a Republican. When the president does an executive order, everyone has to obey. That is the law, first of all. Second of all, let's go back to the Obama administration, where 89,000 children were separated from the parents in the border. Now, nobody talks about that, but that's the fact. That is there. Compared to 1900 by President Trump. And President Trump is just upholding the law. Now, the National Guard there is served and is paid by the federal government and taxpayers' money to provide a service. If the president activates it because it's national security, all right, to protect our border, all the nations of the world protect their borders. Why we have open borders where thousands and thousands and thousands of people come illegally to our country? There's a process. I mean, for example, they could go to the embassy in Mexico City or in Tijuana or wherever their case might be and apply for a visa or apply to come to the United States legally. But all these states, all these nations of South America, what they do is that they promote the migration. They help them out, and then they dump against the border, and then it's our problem, and then our president is bad because he's upholding the law. Laws that were already there. They started with Bill Clinton, by the way, and then Obama came in and follow up and make them into law. So what Trump has been doing is he's been upholding the law. And let me tell you, none of the presidents in the past which have promised a immigration reform, except for Ronald Reagan, who did something, have done anything. I mean, how many promises Obama did? Oh yeah, I'm going to do a reform, immigration reform. Look at the Dreamers. It's a fiasco. It's a smokescreen, the Dreamers, for whoever knows what the Dreamers are. You know what I mean? And so I say that if the president mobilizes the National Guard not to arrest, not to conquer, but to protect the border, we have to protect our nation. I mean, there's a lot of people suffering inside the nation right now who will benefit of a lot of money instead of spending it on that border.
Michael.
It's a good decision by the governor, and he's not alone.
Cindy.
I'm with Georgie there. I think, you know, I don't really have a problem if Charlie Baker doesn't want to send the National Guard. The president hasn't asked him for him yet, so he's, you know, he's just making a statement in a liberal state. So I totally get that. But if it came to the point where, if there really was a crisis at the border that the president asked him for help, then he should do that. Our borders, we are a country, and having sovereignty means you have borders. And I am totally opposed to open borders. I don't care what anybody says. That's my opinion, but a lot of people share that opinion. I have no problem with anybody wanting to come here. Do it legally. President Trump offered Congress a plan where he was going to give amnesty to 2 million or whatever it was, DACA, and he wanted the wall, money for the wall, and they wouldn't do it. So Congress has had multiple years to resolve this issue, and nobody's doing anything about it. And do you hear about it today on the news? No, they're on to the next thing. Yeah. Nobody cares.
You know, as a Christian minister, we have to have compassion, and we have to have love. And mercy for those who come to the border seeking our help. Now, but there has to be a process in place. I mean, you just can't allow thousands of people to cross the border when you don't have the facilities, you don't have a plan how to help them, and what are we going to do with them? Let me tell you, I went to California. And by the way, I am a Hispanic American. I am from Puerto Rico. I come from a military family, and I was born American. Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth of the United States, and we have served in all wars since the Spanish-American War. Now, I went to California a few months ago, and my son gave me a tour. And I went to Hollywood, California. And I went to Malibu Beach. And I went to different places in California. And it is terrible. It is terrible. I mean, the thousands of people lingering on the streets, homeless people on the beach, trash everywhere, campsites. You know why? Because the California government do not have the funds, do not have the plan to help all those people who are crossing the border. They got no housing, they got no emergency shelter, they got nothing in plan. But they're saying, oh yeah, we're a safe haven, come on over.
So separating children from their parents, is that part of the compassion and the love that we talked about?
Let me tell you, first of all, it is illegal to cross the border without proper documentation.
And is that the kids' fault, though?
Well, let's blame Bill Clinton for that, and let's blame. I mean, if you are.
We don't have any other presidents other than Clinton and Obama.
Because
there's no Bushes in there.
No, as a matter of fact,
they weren't presidents.
No,
I didn't think so. They couldn't.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just that Bill Clinton.
We can't do anything about what happened 25 years ago. What do we do now? What do we do right now?
Well,
Bill Clinton is not president right now.
The law has to change.
But how the policies, how the enforcement of it is, you can enforce it in different ways.
Keep the parents and the children together, and you send them right back.
I think that's a good idea.
Catapult.
Get a bus and send them right back.
Border, they're seeking asylum, and what do? We take them and split them.
Well, you know, this situation didn't happen before in large numbers. It's just that the latest caravan of thousands of illegal immigrants that came all the way from South America marching, the government had no choice because they didn't have the facilities to accommodate so many thousands of people. So they had to do something. Meanwhile, they process. Let me tell you, in Canada, you can't get in, you can't get out without proper documentation. And in other countries of the world, it's the same way. And it's just that the government, either in California, which is the first one who has to act with that is the state of California, and then the federal government. You don't have the facilities to accommodate so many people. So being a law in place, they have to withhold the law. Now they know that that law doesn't work. So now it's time for change. They're trying to do damage repair now, and they're trying to help with the situation. I think that once all these kids are reunited with their families, the law is going to change in regards of that. But to your answer, it was Bill Clinton and President Obama who wrote the law and to put the law in place. So you have to withhold. It's like the mayor here. You know, the mayor is going to come and he's going to withhold the law that the past administration had, unless the law is changed.
I just learned today that the Democrats have been in charge of everything up until Trump becoming president. I didn't realize that.
Those are the facts, my friend. Those are the facts.
There is a law in place that says you can go to the border without documentation and request asylum.
Yes.
That is the law.
Of course, Mark.
But instead of us helping these people according to the law, we're taking them and we're splitting them up.
Mexico offered them asylum. If they were truly seeking asylum from a torturous nation, why aren't they staying in Mexico? Because they know that they can make it a little bit further and get to America, and then they're home free.
How do you process 3, 4, 5, 6, 10,000 people that come through the border? How?
Thousands.
Do you have mega facilities to feed these people, to process? How much money is going to cost the United States taxpayers to process these people?
It's going to cost more to split them up and then try to figure out how to put them back together again.
We need to do something about the border security.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
As Americans, we should understand how blessed we are to live in a country where people want to come in rather than people want to break out of.
Of course.
And come to an understanding of how
because you come here, they give you everything
rather than push people away.
It's easy. You get housing, you get food stamps, you get free baby care.
We just want them to follow the laws.
Then stop making the laws impossible to the issue.
Why is Congress?
Why are you putting a hurdle so far up that no one can jump and then say, well, as long as you can jump that, you're welcome.
Not dealing with immigration reform.
Just tell the truth. You're not welcome.
No, I have no problem with.
I'm just glad the Democrats have been in charge of every facet of government for the last 50 years.
All right, we're behind. We're behind. Issue 3. Jewelry store owner in Gloucester put up a sign last week on her shop asking supporters of Donald Trump to shop elsewhere. Meanwhile, a restaurant owner in Virginia booted Press Secretary Sarah Sanders because she works for Trump, stating that as the owner, the restaurant, quote, has certain standards that I feel need to be upheld, such as honesty, compassion, and cooperation. The 1964 Civil Rights Act prohibits businesses from denying service based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. However, it does not say anything about prohibiting service based on politics. Should business owners be encouraged or criticized for standing up for their values and convictions when providing services? Georgie.
Thank you. I think it's absolutely wrong. I mean, the law is very clear. You cannot discriminate. Sex, color, religion, or your social status. It reminds me of the case that not so long ago happened here in some city in Massachusetts about a florist who refused to do floral arrangements for a gay wedding. And he thought he had the right to do so because he was the owner of the business. Took him to court and he lost because you can't discriminate. The law, the judge told him you can't discriminate. I think that there's people that are very angry, still angry, that Mr. Trump won. Now, I'm not a Trump supporter per se, but he is the president. And we have to respect the president. There's a lot of people that are still angry because they can't accept the fact that he won. The whole world was against Trump. Everyone, the press, the movie stars, the newspapers, the whole nations of the world, and he still won. And people haven't got over that yet. And so, but that has created a real problem. I think the real problem is not Trump. The real problem are the Democrats and the Republicans fighting each other and creating a hate problem. That's the big problem. It's not him. It's the people who have created that problem. I am against discrimination of any sorts.
Michael.
As a business owner, I would not refuse either a conservative or a liberal who wants to do business with me. The law says something different, however. There are protected classes. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not a protected class. Social status is not a protected class, sir. Do I think that it's morally right, or do I think that it's right as a human being to say don't eat here or turn person away? No, and if I owned a restaurant, I probably wouldn't do so. But let's not mistake the law. There are protected classes. There is race, there is sexual orientation in most cases, there is gender in most cases, there's ethnicity, there's disability. So the law is what it is. You may disagree with it, but we can't provide a double standard. We can't be hypocritical in wanting to enforce the law in certain respects and ignoring the law in other respects. So again, personally as a business owner, and I can say it firsthand, there are clients who are welcome, some of my favorite clients, we don't agree with whatsoever politically, and that's fine. And so I would not turn people away due to political affiliation. Is it legal to do so? Sure.
Cindy.
Michael's right. It is legal for them to do that. They can do whatever they want. I think it's foolishness. I think anybody who refuses a customer is just foolishness. And you know, just looking at the numbers real quickly, in Virginia and in Gloucester, Mass, there was Trump did pretty well in those areas, and so they both of those people have risked over 1 million voters in that area, in those areas, of that will now be like, I'm not going to go to your restaurant because of that. So how foolish was that? Yeah, you made a point. You can legally do it. Is it right? No, I don't think it's right. But whatever happens to your business, that's what happens, and you deserve it.
The consequences.
Lauren.
Okay. So I think we're a country of diversity, and that's what makes us already great. As individuals, we should stand up for our values, but as a business, that's a slippery slope. If business owners want to make it known to the public where they stand politically, it could go two ways. It could help or hurt their business based on their customers' own political views. I've been known not to spend my money with businesses who have made their political views known and that do not align with my own moral standards. That said, I think everyone should never be denied services unless they're behaving in a manner that is disruptive to other customers. Now, as the restaurant owner that we're discussing here, who booted Secretary Sarah Sanders to question her own practice of, as the word she said, compassion, when serving a meal towards someone who is disliked by so many. Her choice not to serve Secretary Sanders only shows that she is more concerned with judging the character of Sanders versus practicing the value of compassion that she spoke of.
We have a question, Michael. I'm going to ask you a question, Michael. Is there a line, though? So I'm going to ask you, because you're a business owner, you have clients. If a client comes into you and says, I hear you're the best at estate planning, so I want you to plan my estate, maximize this estate value, and split it up, my beneficiaries, 50% to the KKK, the other 50% to the Westboro Baptist Church. Do you take that case? Do you take that client?
Well, legally, I can refuse it.
But do you?
You know, I'd have to think about that.
You could be a wealthy Republican.
So there may be a line. If you have to think about it, so you may have to think about it.
You're saying wealthy Republicans donate to the KKK? Is that your quote?
No, but I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just saying he could be a wealthy Republican, so you've got to be careful.
So I mean, your line may be different than that restaurant owner's line.
That is something I think about. So yeah, you can draw a line. Look, and there is a freedom of association.
All right, very quickly though, because we're out of time. Our exit question: Caitlin Bennett challenged David Hogg to an arm wrestling contest. Who would win?
I give up. I give up my time to
Caitlin for sure.
David.
Caitlin.
Sure?
Oh,
Come on.
I'm good. Yeah.
Where do you stand?
Oh, of course Caitlin.
Caitlin
would beat him.
Yeah.
Caitlin would beat me. Georgie Rodriguez, Lauren Soucy, thank you so much for joining us. That'll do it for Flap TV.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Great show, guys.
Thank you. It was fun.
That was fun. All right.